Hey everyone, welcome to Remap. My name is Jared, and today we're going to be taking a look at the indie hit Firewatch by Campo Santo. Now, Firewatch is a first-person adventure game where you play as a man named Henry, someone who's working as a fire lookout at the Shoshone National Forest. And that's pretty much all I'm going to say about the story. This is going to be a spoiler-free review because, as you'll see shortly, the narrative here is really the star of the show, and I do not want to ruin it for any interested players. But for some context before we get started, this is an indie game by every sense of the word. I was watching the credits and thought, that's it? There's maybe a dozen people that developed this game. So keep that in mind as you listen to this review. And as always, these are my opinions and mine alone. So when I booted up and started this game, I was struck by the graphics because A, there's a nice, simple art style that gives you scenes right out of a painting. But B, the graphical fidelity just wasn't there for me. I know this game originally released in 2016 and the PC version looks much better, but I was hoping for a lot more detail and polish on the textures. I would love to see a remaster with better visuals running on the Xbox version, but it wasn't detrimental to the experience, just something that could have strengthened it if it was improved on. I know I've been spoiled in the last couple of years as upgrades to Unity and Unreal Engine have made amazing visuals more accessible to smaller developers, but Firewatch relies on its art design more than fidelity to push its image. And navigating this scenic environment is simple and intuitive. As long as you can move the sticks and press a couple buttons, you can play this game. All you have to do is you look at your map, you select some dialogue, and you're good to go, which, coupled with a very short playtime of only 4 hours, makes this the rare game non-gamers can play through. One of the unfortunate realities is that not everyone is able to invest time and energy into games, no matter how great they are. Looking back at two excellent games I've reviewed in the past, Outer Wilds has some challenging ship controls and a complex, branching storyline, while Persona 5 Royal might take you a year or two to get through all 130 hours. So it's nice to see games like Firewatch with a short, easy-to-play, linear story that puts a lot of larger studios to shame, if I'm being honest, because the story here is absolutely riveting. I was on the edge of my seat wanting to learn what's next in this game. There's no giant boss battle or crazy cutscenes. Firewatch creates this atmosphere through simple dialogue, because the core gameplay, other than walking around, is just talking with your boss. And this dialogue delivers so much emotion to the player, from happiness and sadness to stress and some incredible tension. And again, I'm not going to spoil anything, but I thought the story was great, and it was nothing like what I expected going in. You know, there's plenty of games, you start playing them, you know what to expect a few minutes in or a few hours in. This game took me for a ride, and I'm sure it'll take you for a ride too. But the strength of this story is driven by some excellent voice acting. Rich Sommer and Cissy Jones deliver strong, natural-sounding performances, and I don't have much to say about the rest of the sound design because there's not much else. There's only a couple moments in the game where music plays, and basically all you hear is just wind, your footsteps, and some birds chirping around. Now, you'd think I'd complain about this because of how much I always focus on the importance of a soundtrack in a game, how essential it is to driving emotion, to showing the player, okay, you know, this is a big moment, this is something you need to get invested in. But no, not at all, because critically, this isn't an incredible exploration of space, a jaunter through Viking-infested waters, or a run through a big city, but it's just walking through the woods. And the silence, where all you hear is nature, helps create this world you're playing in and delivers a very unique sound in its simplicity. There's no fancy orchestra playing behind you as you walk through, just the birds and the wind, which delivers a emotion all of its own. Because you can get so caught up in a game's music, graphics, gameplay, that you forget that at the core, all you need is a strong story. And Firewatch is a perfect example of this because it does not check many of the boxes that I would describe a great game as, but it checks the most important one. Firewatch gets an easy A on the back of its incredible story driven by some great voice acting and simple but effective gameplay. And of all the games I reviewed so far, Firewatch is definitely going to be my top recommendation to anyone interested in trying out the medium of video games, because it's just so accessible to the average consumer. Short playtime, simple controls, but at the core of it is an incredible, riveting story. But that is all I have for you today. Thank you so much for tuning in. You have been listening to Remap, the gaming podcast. My name is Jared, and I hope you have a wonderful rest of your day.